So there it was yesterday, a big college basketball card, and I needed a winner on Thursday night because especially after that fiasco in the Frisco Bowl on Wednesday when I had SMU as a top-rated 15-dime play and the Mustangs lost by 173 points against Louisiana Tech. But I didn't have to do much handicapping on Thursday because one of my favorite go-to teams, Texas Arlington, was laying 13.5 points at home against Cal Poly SLO. And I knew it was money in the bank. Now that line went up to 14 points, but it didn't matter because the Mavericks rolled by 21 points, and I cashed in with a 4th straight college basketball winner and a 3rd straight top-rated 15-dime best bet in college hoops over the past 2 weeks. Because at this point in the season, you've had about 6 weeks of non-conference basketball play. Some of the smaller conferences have already kicked off with their conference action. Most of the others, next week, first week in January, conference action starts. Listen, you can't possibly, as a gambler or as a handicapper like me, you can't possibly be aware of 350 plus Division I teams. Now, you want to talk about 250 of them? I'm well versed in them. But even myself, I've narrowed down probably about 25 teams. And I think for the layman out there, you've got to have a handful, a bucket of maybe about 10, 12, what I call go-to teams that you are well versed in, that you've been following the past 6 weeks like I have. One of them that I've been following, Texas Arlington, really the past 2 or 3 years. As I noted in my analysis yesterday, they are one of those little mid-major programs. They take on anybody. They are just a money-in-the-bank team, a dragon slayer that often lays an egg at home in the most unlikely of situations, but they play up to the level of competition often. And they're just one of those, as I said, go-to money-in-the-bank teams. And those are the teams that you will follow game in, game out over the past 6 weeks that you have to have in your little bucket going into conference action. Okay, now, we also are going to have a slew of college bowl games coming up here in the next, week and a half or so. The big play today happens to be from one of the hottest handicappers, Jack Brayman. It's on the game that goes at 4 o'clock or 4:30 Eastern Time, Central Michigan and Wyoming. The 5th ever 200-dime college football release of his career since he joined the site last January. He's a perfect 4-0 with these plays. You've gotten them all for over half price off, just like today's play as well. The most recent one was the Las Vegas Bowl last Saturday with Boise State outright as the 7.5-point dog over Oregon. Before that, 2 Saturdays ago, Army over Navy outright. 3 Saturdays ago, how can you forget Auburn, the upset of Alabama in the Iron Bowl? Again, he has made $10 bettors in college football since November 24th, a little over $8,100. You get it for over half price off by using coupon code FIFTH. Spell it out, FIFTH. Also props to Chris Jordan last night cashing in with top-rated 1,000-star college basketball winner number 9 out of 14 with North Dakota State, a 2.5-point favorite beating NC Wilmington by 37 points. You got it for over half price off as he has now made $1 bettors over $64,000 in the past 12 and a half months. Tonight, a rare raise the bar 1,500 star play in college basketball. Doesn't have them often, but he's winning them. Number 10 out of 15 goes tonight. Non-conference route of the year, it goes on the late night card. You get it for over half price off as well by using coupon code Chris, his first name. Remember, this being Friday, you can save $50 off the purchase price of any handicapper 7-day package by using coupon code SAVE50. Or, if you want to save even more, you can save $125 off the purchase price of any handicapper's 30-day package by using coupon code SAVE125, SAVE125. Any instant rebates are applicable as well. If you have any questions, you can always contact customer service. Okay, let's get to your complimentary plays here tonight. Have a couple of them for you here. Let's take a look at one of these games on the late night card at the Alaska Airlines Arena, Washington. The Huskies are a 4.5-point favorite. The game goes at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. They are taking on Montana. Now, the Huskies won the opener in this preseason holiday tournament against Bethune-Cookman on Tuesday night, 106-55. It was a 7-point game at halftime, and then they used a 35-6 roll early in the second half to put the game away. They forced 24 turnovers. They finished with 16 steals. you know, it was an uncharacteristic win for Washington because 5 of their first 8 wins this season have been decided by 10 points or less. But now they have 9 wins on the season, which matches last season's total. This is their first year under the direction of Mike Hopkins, who had been a longtime assistant under Jim Boeheim at Syracuse, I think 22 years on that coaching staff. So naturally, he brought the 2-3 matchup zone that was so famous at Syracuse to Washington, and that's what they play, and they have a lot of length. But they're also a very good shooting team as well. They're shooting almost 48% from the field, almost 37% on three-pointers. They also get to the free throw line a hell of a lot. I was reading 317 free throws they've already attempted this season, and that's the 8th most in Division I play. Now, a little caveat in doing my research for this game. So they beat up Bethune-Cookman. Quick, where's Bethune-Cookman from? Hey, listen, if you're on Jeopardy next week, I'm just preparing you here. Yes, Alex, that answer is, where is Daytona Beach, Florida? Why was that a close game at halftime, and why was it a blowout in the second half? Because it took Bethune-Cookman 55 hours to make that trip from Florida to Alaska because they got trapped in the Atlanta airport because of that power outage for 25 hours. So I think that final was a little bit misleading the other night. However, I'm still willing to take the Huskies, who have won 7 of their last 8. The lone loss coming to Gonzaga, a Huskies team that knocked off Kansas earlier this season as a 22-point underdog, 74-65, against a Montana team that really hasn't played anybody. And bear witness to these numbers. The RPI between these two teams, Washington, 71, Montana, 179. KenPom.com, Washington, 125. Montana 145, not a huge difference, but still Washington definitely has a little bit of an edge there. So again, I'm willing to go with Washington laying the 4.5 points. An interesting line move too. This line was 5.5 early. It's now down to 4.5. I do like Washington in this contest. Your next complimentary play, I'm going to go with Nevada, minus the 12.5 against Southern Illinois. Now, this game is going to be played at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. So typically, it wouldn't surprise me if there's less than 500 people at this damn game here for this one. Last year, Nevada found itself in the same situation in the pre-holiday tournament, playing at another local casino, the South Point, which is down the strip, a beautiful place. My wife loves playing down there. She's given a lot of money to the South Point's video poker machines over the years. I think she's helped fund their expansion down there over the years. But Steve once said of the South Point, it's like being in the witness protection program when you go there because it's so far down the strip. I happen to think it's a cool place, very nice. But anyway, we digress. Nevada's a 12.5 point favorite here. So last year they played at this other preseason tournament, and the problem is, you know, often you lose focus in these preseason tournaments because, listen, I don't care if you're Nevada Reno and you're making, you know, a lot of people think like if you're from Nevada Reno, it's like, oh, you're accustomed when you're an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid and you're going to Vegas. Reno is not next to Vegas. You know, you got to hop the plane and take the hour-and-a-half long flight. It's a 48-minute flight, actually. It's an 8-hour drive. It's not like Vegas is right around the town. And Reno and Vegas, yeah, the only thing they have in common is they both have casinos. Reno, I happen to like. It's a nice town. If you ever get a chance, I do recommend going up to Reno. Very nice. It's an hour drive over to Tahoe. It's a cool place to go, okay? But it ain't Vegas. So, you know, kids get distracted. But I do think kids from Southern Illinois are going to get more distracted in this particular contest. Listen, the Redbirds are 7-4, but it's a soft 7-4. They've only played one top 100 team in terms of RPI, and that's Louisville, and Louisville absolutely destroyed them. Nevada's RPI, 13. Southern Illinois, 179. KenPom, Nevada, 34, 142. Southern Illinois on the road. Granted, it's a neutral site game, but they're 1-3 on the road. When I look at the adjusted offensive efficiency, according to KenPom.com stats, in terms of 100 possessions, you know, this is a Nevada team that is an excellent three-point shooting team. They average 11.7 points more per game. They give up 2.5 points less. That's a 14.2 point differential, offense versus defense. They're laying 12.5 points. When I look at strength of schedule, you got a Nevada team whose strength of schedule is 109. You got a Southern Illinois team that's 330. But again, you always have to be leery that last year in a preseason tournament, as I was alluding to earlier at the South Point Casino, this was a Nevada team that was taking on a Cal Santa Barbara team that finished 6-22 last year, and they barely escaped with a 67-66 win. But I think Nevada's a damn good team. They've only lost 2 games this year, and they came against Texas Tech and TCU. They lost to TCU, a team that is 11-0 this season by 4 points. They lost to Texas Tech by 6 points, a team that is 10-1 this season. So I'm willing to lay the 12.5 points here with the Wolfpack of Nevada. And I've noted in other times that I've used Nevada as a free pick this year that the beat writer at the Reno Gazette, he does an excellent job breaking down the Wolfpack's football and basketball previews, breaking down their games and giving you his selections and his point spread predictions. He likes Nevada to cover. He does a great job, and he's usually right on the money. And I like his selection as well tonight. Now, of the 2 plays, I like Washington a little more than Nevada, so the Huskies would be my top selection. FYI, don't be trapped by Xavier tonight. They're another one of my go-to teams. They're a 6.5 point favorite at Northern Illinois or Northern Iowa. I was looking at the Musketeers tonight. However, they have a lot of injury concerns. In that 81-77 win against Marshall on Tuesday, in the second half of that game, they only had 3 scholarship players available because J.P. Mikura, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, he didn't play because of blurred vision. Kaiser Gates didn't play because of dizziness. Who knows what their status is? One of the guys that started in place of Gates, he left the game as well. This is a depleted Xavier squad right now, so I'm not willing to lay the 6.5 points. Otherwise, I would absolutely be on top of them because the Musketeers are a far better team than Northern Iowa, especially offensively. But again, I think it's a stay-away game. So Washington is your top play, and then Nevada is your second play, and that'll do it. And we roll on, and I'll see you on